Hello and very good morning, students of class 10th. I hope you all are well. I'm just appealing you that you should be safe and maintain all the hygiene. And I also mentioned you that few of you have been very well in computers. So keep it up and do the hard work. Now let's move on. Yesterday I was promised you I will provide the PDF of chapter number 2, that is computer communication and network. So as I said, I will provide you the PDF of the chapter number 2. uh, Always remember this thing, that I will provide you the video in parts. That means first I will get part 1, then I will send part 2, part 3, and so on. So that means that there is no problem for you to write down the work. You have to complete the work on the same day and you will submit the work. So no problem in this. And I also mentioned you one thing, that class 9th E, if you have already written the chapter number 1 in class 9th notebook, I'm repeating it again, that if you already written the chapter number 1 on your 9th E notebook and you keep this notebook safe, then you don't need to write this chapter number 1 again, because it is already mentioned in the notebook. But you have to keep this notebook safe. And second thing is that if you lost the notebook and if you misplace the notebook of class 9, so it's better you have to write the notes of chapter number 1. So from now I'm sending you the notes of chapter number 2 part 1. It's your responsibility that today only you have to complete the note and you have to send me the work on our group. You know that the group 10th E computer, you know this group. You have to send the work of chapter number 2 on my group. I mean on your group, on our group actually. Okay, it's better to say it's our group. You have to send the work, and if you find any difficulty to understand, you can easily ask me. And my dear student, group is open for that. If you find any difficulty or any time, just because of that our school group is closed at 12 or 1 p.m. And after that, if you find any difficulty to understand any topic, you can easily ping me on this group. I will definitely respond to you. Okay, regarding anything, regarding any query, any doubt, or any problem for writing or something, and you have difficult to understand, you can ask me. I am ready to answer it. And now let's move on. As I said, I've sent you the part 1 lecture, actually part 1 PDF of chapter number 2. So once you open your group, you will find that the notes of chapter number 2 part 1. So you can say that we have already discussed few topics, that is information technology system or information system, telecommunication, and we have also discussed the basics, or what are the basics of three types. Communications are three types. We have already discussed on yesterday class. So I guess there is no problem in this. We have already discussed these things. So I think there is no problem in this. Now let's move on to discuss few more topics. That is data communication system. So now we have to understand it. What is data communication system? What is data communication system? So we need to understand this point. What is data communication system? So now you know that what is data communication system. I told you and I explained each and everything in a very layman manner, and I'm repeating it again and again. So now you know that communication is nothing, just you can say that when two person or two people or two more than two people interacting with each other and sharing some information, ideas, it is called communication. And in terms of computer, when two or more system or machines, I'm saying two or more system or machines interacting with each other and sharing data and information with each other. So this type of communication is called data communication system. So I told you earlier that there are few terms which you need to understand on your mind. You have to keep recite few things on your mind, so that this will be helpful while you are writing the answer. While you're writing the answer on your notebook, few terms you have to keep on your mind, that will help you. So the data communication is nothing when the two or more systems are communicating with each other and sharing idea and information, and this is called data communication. And always remember that in data communication, the first one, the computer or the device, or you can say machine which send the data is called the sender, and the device which receive the data is called receiver. And always remember that the data is transmitted. Data is transmitted. Transmitted means sended. Data is transmitted by some medium. By some medium. This medium, whether be a wire, or you know that the wire or of various types, like a twisted pair cable, optical fiber cable, or coaxial cable. So the wire can be any type. So we have to transmit data from one machine to another machine, or one machine to multiple machine, or multiple machine to multiple machine via via some medium. Via some medium. So these mediums are the cables. So these cables would be coaxial, optical fiber, or twisted pair cable. The thing is that, but nowadays wireless communication is also very popular, and you may say that the wireless communication is much prominent than wired communication. So in wireless communication, there are various technologies involved, that are radio waves, microwaves, and you can say Bluetooth, and all, or you can say all these technologies are involved to share the data with one computer to another computer, one device to another device, or one device to multiple device, or multiple device to multiple device. So this is the basic concept of communication, when two or more computers are connecting with each other, communicating with each other, where sender sends the where sender transmit or send the data via medium, and the receiver receives the data via medium. Via this type of communication is called data communication. So the same definition is mentioned in the notes. You can see that. I'm just give me a second. Yeah, you can see that data communication is defined as the exchange of data between a source and the receiver. You know that I explained it again, that the data communication defined as exchange. Exchange means data is transferred from one computer to another computer. I can say this thing, that I just explain it with some diagram, so it will bet for the better understanding. Okay. Suppose I'm just going to explain data communication in this series of data communication. You can say that there is one computer A, there is another computer B. Okay. So in that case, when sender sends the data, in that case, this computer can send data. This will become sender, because this computer sends the data, and this computer receives the data. This is called receiver. And another thing, this data is transferred by some medium. This data is transferred by some medium, electronic medium. I told you electronic medium would be, कोई भी electronic medium हो सकता है, चाहे वो twisted pair cable हो, optical fiber cable हो, या कोई भी केबल हो सकती है. और ये मीडियम वायरलेस मीडियम भी हो सकता है, चाहे वो माइक्रोवेव हो, रेडियो वेव हो, या कोई वाईफाई हो, कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी हो सकती है जिसके थ्रू डेटा ट्रांसफर किया जा सकता है. अगेन ये तो एक तरफ का डेटा हो गया. और याद रखिएगा, ये बाय डायरेक्शनल भी हो सकता है, यानी कि इसके बाद ये जो रिसीवर है ये भी डेटा सेंड कर सकता है. इस केस में जब ये रिसीवर सेंड करेगा, तो ये किसके तरीके वर्क करेगा, इस वक्त ये एक्ट करेगा एज अ सेंडर. और हमारा जो दूसरा कंप्यूटर है, दैट इज कंप्यूटर फर्स्ट, जो फर्स्ट कंप्यूटर है वो एक्ट करेगा एज अ रिसीवर. सो अगेन, सो आई थिंक यू गेट दिस पॉइंट, दैट जब कंप्यूटर ए डेटा सेंड करता है किसी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडियम के थ्रू, तो वो डेटा वो कंप्यूटर कहलाता है सेंडर, और जो रिसीव करता है वो कहलाता है रिसीवर. उसी तरीके से जब दूसरे केस में जब कंप्यूटर ए को डेटा सेंड करता है, तो कंप्यूटर बी कहलाता है सेंडर और कंप्यूटर ए कहलाता है रिसीवर. और ये सारा डेटा कम्युनिकेशन होता है किसी मीडियम के थ्रू. और ऑलवेज रिमेंबर वन थिंग, दैट द डेटा कम्युनिकेशन पॉइंट टू पॉइंट यानी वन कंप्यूटर टू अनदर कंप्यूटर भी हो सकता है, एक कंप्यूटर से मल्टीपल कंप्यूटर्स भी हो सकता है, और मल्टीपल कंप्यूटर से मल्टीपल कंप्यूटर्स में भी हो सकता है। कहने का मतलब ये है कि मान लीजिए ये जो कम्युनिकेशन मैंने देखा, यहाँ पे एक और कंप्यूटर में जोड़ देता हूँ, सपोज कंप्यूटर सी, और तो इस केस में यहाँ पे दो कंप्यूटर हो गए और सेंडर एक ही है। तो यहाँ पर ये केस भी पॉसिबल है कि एक से ज्यादा एक ही सोर्स हो और उससे ज्यादा सेंडर हो। ओके, और एक ये भी केस पॉसिबल है कि एक सेंडर और मल्टीपल रिसीवर। इसके अलावा एक केस और भी पॉसिबल है कि यहाँ पर एक से ज्यादा मल्टीपल सेंडर मल्टीपल रिसीवर, ये केस भी पॉसिबल, यानी मल्टीपल सेंडर्स हैं, यानी एक कंप्यूटर बी को सी को भी दे रहा है, इस तरीके से कंप्यूटर डी जो है ए को भी डेटा सेंड कर रहा है और सी को भी डेटा सेंड कर रहा है। तो ये केस भी पॉसिबल है। तो दिस इज हाउ दिस डेटा कम्युनिकेशन वर्क। So the same definition, this is mentioned in the notes. I think this will help you to better understand all these things. Okay. So now, as you can see, data communication is defined as the exchange of data between a source and receiver. As I told you earlier, data communication is said to be local if communication devices are the same building or a small geographical area. I told you that data communication can be local communication. बच्चों, अगर मान लीजिए किसी बिल्डिंग में ही डेटा कम्युनिकेशन हो रहा है तो उसको लोकल कम्युनिकेशन भी कह सकते हैं। Means these are very small definition. I think there is no need to use any rocket science. Now the next part is the meaning of the source and the receiver are very simple. The device that transmit our data is known as source, and the device that receives the transmitted data is known as receiver. It is another, this is not a rocket science. The device that sends the data is called source, and the device that receives the data is called receiver. My dear student, in simple terms, if I am saying this, the machine with or a computer which sends the data, a machine or computer which sends the data is called that, or you can say that it transmits the data, is called the source. Or you can say that a source is a computer which sends the data, and the receiver is the computer which receives the, or you can say which which receives the transmitted data. It's called the, you can say that receiver. So if I'm taking this example again, I'm just wait for a second. So my dear students, in this case, if this sends the computer, this is computer A, this is computer B. If computer A transmits the data to computer B, this is called source or sender, source computer or sender, and this computer B, this is called receiver. Okay, I think there's no problem in this. You can easily understand all these things. My dear student, I prepared the notes in a very layman language and very good language, so you will get easily, you can easily write down the answer. So I think there's no problem in this. Okay. Now, my dear students, I'm just going to discuss components. Our communication system has following components. Okay. So my dear student, you need to understand that there are following components that we need to understand in a good communication. The first is the message. So message is very important. Whatever the data is transmitted, there's the message which is going to transmit. This is called, you can say that it is an input. Okay, this input, whether be a text, whether be a picture, whether be a audio, whether be a video, whether be a bits, whatever the data would be analog or digital. So I will explain this analog and digital data later on. But you need to understand that data would be in any form, whether it is a analog data, whether it is a digital data, whether it is a video, whether it is a audio, whether it is a picture, whether it is a sound. So the message or the data that is between in any form, the message, it would be in any form. The same thing is written here. The same thing is written here. The message, it is in the it is the information or the data to be communicated. It is communicated. It can consist of text, numbers, pictures, sound or videos, or any combination of these. So you know that it can, this message can consist of any number, picture, sound, or any combination of other these things. So you can easily understand these things that it can consist number, text, picture, sound, video, or any combination of this. I can tell you that this can be a number, data can be a number, or वीडियो ऑडियो whatever form it is. तो मैसेज किसी भी फॉर्म में हो सकता है, इनपुट डेटा किसी भी फॉर्म में हो सकता है. जैसे अगर मैं बात करूं, if I'm saying that I am sending some voice to you, so this is also a data, input data, okay, for my computer, okay, for source computer, okay. Have you any problem? Just wait for a second. Okay, class. So now what is the next point is, what is sender? So it is a device or a computer that generates and sends the message. So sender is a, you can say that you can say that a device or a computer which sends the message. Okay. What the third component is the receiver. So the after transmitting the signal, it is a device or the computer that receives the message. You can see that receiver is the computer that receives the message. Okay. So always remember this thing that receiver is the computer which receives the message. The location of the receiver computer is generally different from the sender computer. It is obvious that the sender computer definitely placed at different place. That's why we need to transmit the data. There is no fixed geographical boundaries for the receiver computer, okay, or receiver device. It would be 1 kilometer, 1,000 kilometer, 1 lakh kilometer. No problem in this. Even a satellite, we have to get the signal from Mars or Jupiter. So you can say that we can send. We have no geographical limit for the receiver's computer. Okay, so you can say that there is no fixed boundary for receiver's computer. The distance between the sender and receiver depends upon the type of network we are using. So it is very important that which type of network we are using, whether it is LAN, WAN, MAN. It is totally depends on that. Basically, the communication which we are using for our Zoom class, this is you can say the WAN communication, wide area network, because we are using the internet. Okay, but we can use PAN network as well. Like when we are sharing data via the Bluetooth, so the maximum range is about 5 meters to 8 meters. So you can say that this is a personal area network. So this is geographical limit is very low. So you can say that the sender and receiver's distance can be varied, and then we have to decide which type of network we would use. We can use whether a local area network, that is called LAN, personal area network, that is PAN, or we can use uh, wide area network, that is the World Wide Web, WAN. Okay, so these are the few basic fundamentals of the sender, receiver, and message. And now, what is the medium? So as I told earlier, that it is the channel. Channel means a wire or a physical path through which the message is carried from sender to receiver. I always told you that there is no rocket science, that there is no existence of any ghost or something like that. You have get my voice. There is some logic behind that. There is some kind of signals that through that we can access this. You can access my video. Okay, this in your case, the medium is the internet, the radio waves, so that you have to access all these things. But in some cases, there is wired medium as well. So these are the mediums through that we can transmit the signals. We can transmit the data. Okay, the medium can be wired like twisted pair, coaxial cable, optical fiber cable, or medium would be wireless like radio wave, microwave, and laser. Okay, there's no problem in this. So I think there's no problem to understand all this concept. And the other is the last is the protocol. You know that the protocol are the set of rules through that two device can be communicated with each other. You know that the HTTP protocol stands for hypertext hypertext transfer protocol. So we have discussed this the protocol later on, but now you have to understand this thing that the protocol is the set of rules through that two devices can communicate with each other. Just like that, if my computer accept the internet and your device not accept the internet, so in that case we will not able to share the data. So the protocol that means that your computer or your machine or your device also support the same protocol that my computer support. In that's only we can communicate with each other. So this is how protocols are a set of rules so that two or more devices connected with each other. Okay, I'll just give you one example. HTTP protocol. This is the most popular protocol which is work on the internet. Okay, so I think you get the idea. So these are the common terms, and one figure is given that suppose this I have given any message. The message that I'm giving to you is called input data, and then the sender computers, the senders devices send the data, and these are data transmitted via some transmission medium. Transmission medium would be wired or wireless. I told you earlier, and then this receiver will receive the data, and the output will be produced. So I hope you get this point. This is not a rocket science again. This is very easy to understand, and if you have still any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. Now, what is data transmission? It is very important and it is very critical to understand what is data communication. So, my dear student, data communication is the process of sending digital analog data over the communication medium or more computing network communication or electronic devices. So, data transmission. So, this is a process. So, if the process of sending the data from one machine to another machine over a network or through transmission medium. Okay, so if I'm saying in single words, in a simple words, that is sending information or sending data from one computer to another computer or one machine to another machine or one device to another device, or you can say one machine to multiple machines or multiple machines to multiple machines. Okay, so multiple sender, multiple receiver, multiple source, multiple receiver. So this kind of data transfer by some medium is called data transmission. So I hope there is no problem in this. The process of sending or transmitting the digital or analog signal from one computer to another computer by some communication medium like twisted and optical fiber cable and some electronic devices also involved in this. So this type of communication is called data transfer. This phenomena is called data transmission. एक या एक से ज्यादा कंप्यूटर जब डेटा को एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पहुंचाते हैं किसी कम्युनिकेशन मीडियम के थ्रू, तो इस तरीके के कम्युनिकेशन को डेटा कम्युनिकेशन बोलते हैं जिसमें कोई भी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डिवाइसेस इन्वॉल्व होती हैं. सो just like this Zoom meeting or just like our WhatsApp meeting, this is also a kind of a data transmission where your machine receives the analog signal and ultimately this signal will be transmitted, converted in the form of a video. Okay, so this is another thing that we need to discuss later. But in simple words, this is the data communication. Okay. So I think definition is also very easy. No need to worry for anything. Okay. Just wait for a second. So I'm just thorough reading the thing and explain it again. The data transmission is the process of sending digital analog data over a communication medium to one or more computing network, communication or electronic devices. It enables the transfer and communication of devices in point-to-point, point-to-multipoint and multipoint to multipoint environment. Communication medium can be coaxial, fiber optical, cable, etc. So I think everything is very crystal clear now. I don't think so there is need for any explanation, further explanation. So I think there is no problem in this. So my dear student, can anyone tell which kind of communication we are using right now? It is point-to-point communication, point-to-multipoint communication, or point-to-point communication. You can easily say that this is point-to-multipoint communication because I am the sender, you all are receivers. Okay, I am the only source, you all are the receivers. Okay, you all are the destination point. So you can say that this is a single point communication because I am sending the YouTube video. You know that. If I am using the Zoom app, I'm taking the live class, if I'm taking the live class, so this there is a multiple point to multi-point data transmission, because you have say something, I will reply on it. But in that case, I am sending the recorded video. So this type of communication is called single point data transmission, because I have sent you the link of YouTube, and you will only access the thing that I am telling you. You will not answer. You are not capable to respond at simultaneously. So in that point, you can say that this is a single point data transmission. But when I'm using the Zoom app, then there is multiple points to multiple points data communication. So I hope you get the point. Now, types of data transmission. There are mainly two types of data transmission. There are parallel data transmission, serial data transmission. So this definition, this question can be asked. Then how many types of data transmission? You will easily say that there are two types of data transmission, that is parallel data transmission and serial data transmission. I hope you get the point. There are two types of data transmission, that is parallel data transmission and serial data transmission. The serial data transmission can further classified into two categories. Again, the serial transmission is further categorized into two categories, that is synchronous and asynchronous. Have you get the point? Uh, Synchronous and asynchronous data communication. I hope you get the point. Serial communication further categorized into two categories, that is synchronous and asynchronous data communication. Now let's discuss about parallel transmission. So my dear students, before moving to parallel transmission, I just want to ask, do you have any problem from this point? I hope you don't have any problem now. Now everything is very crystal clear, and I am explaining it with very simple words. I hope that you will equally ease to understand all these things. Now let's move on to the parallel transmission. So my dear student, parallel transmission is a kind of a transmission where each bit is sent by separate wire. Okay. So in source computer and in destination computer, there are two computers, the source computer and a destination computer. Both the computers have connected by a single wire. Okay, means each bit is sent by each separate wire. That means I'll just explain it with the example. Suppose there is sender computer, another is receiver computer, and there are 8 bits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 bits, and you can say that there are 8 wires or channels. Okay, so eight. That means we have, if you send the 8 bits, that 0 is sent by the sender and 0 received by the receiver. Similarly, this 0 is sent and 0 is received, and so on. You can continue this 8-bit data sends, and this 8-bit data is received equally against the receiver. And you can say that there are 8 wires for each data transmission. So you can say that this type of transmission use 8 wires for transferring the 8 bits. You can understand that how costly it is. How costly it is, just because of that we need to consume 8 wires to transmit 8-bit data. So you can say that, I know that this is very, you can say that, sir, it is very fast. It is very fast. Definitely, it is very fast. Just because of that, it needs to only send only single bit. But you can imagine how costly it is. How costly it is. If I want to send data from Kanpur to Lucknow by wired, for a single bit, I need to run the wire for Kanpur to Lucknow for transmitting the single bit. So you can understand how costly it is. So you can say that with the computer, with the computing or communication devices, the distance between the different sub units are too short. So you can say that the parallel communication is parallel transmission is used for small, or you can say that small places or shorter distances. We can say that the parallel transmission can only use in shorter distances. Thus, it is normally in normal practice to transfer data between sub-unit using separate wire to carry each bit data. Okay, so that's why this type of parallel transmission is not very popular. Just because of that, we have to use separate wire for separate bit. So you can imagine how difficult it is. Okay, so there are multiple wires connecting each sub-unit, and data is exchanged using parallel transmission mode. This mode of opening result operational result is minimal delay in transfer of word. So you know that just because of that, each wire have to send only single bit. So you can easily understand that it is very easy. It is too quick to send the data. There are 8 separate wires using transmit separate bits. Okay, you can set that. I have already explained this thing. The sender sends the each bit by each wire, and receiver receives this each bit. So you can easily understand that this corresponding value of each bit. So I think there is no problem in this. But the point is the 8 different wires are used for sending 8 different bits. This is you can say that very thing to understand. And another thing is that this type of communication is very fast in comparison with the serial communication, but it is very costly because we need to consume lots of wire. Okay, if there are n bits, then we require n wires. So this is not practically possible. Okay, so the advantage of this parallel communication is that multiple bits are transferred simultaneously. So you can say that we can simultaneously transfer. That means each bit transfer at the same time. At the same clock, each bit can be transferred. We did no bit need to wait for other bits. We need to transfer the bit at the same time. Okay, rate of transmission is fast. Rate of transmission should be very fast. Okay, the disadvantage of this type of parallel transmission is too costly, as n wires are required for n bits transfer. अगर n wires है तो n bits transfer करने पड़ेगा. अगर 8 बिट का डेटा तो 8 वायर्स यूज करने पड़ेंगे, 4 बिट का डेटा 4 वायर्स यूज करने पड़ेंगे सेंडर और रिसीवर के बीच में. So you can easily understand that how practically impossible it is. And the second disadvantage is only used for small distances. You can say that we can use this kind of communication in small places only. So you can say that this is all about parallel communication. So I hope you have understand this concept. So the serial transmission is a bit contradictory from that. So we have discussed this serial transmission on my next class, and I hope that you will understand all this concept that I am told you, and you will write down all the notes. And if you find any difficulty to understand each of these concepts, it's better you have to ask on my our personal WhatsApp group, that is class 10E computer. Okay. Now from this note, I'm just sending you that you have to complete the notes today's evening and send the work in the PDF format. And if you find any difficulty, you may ask. Okay, I am always for you, and you all are mine. Okay, thank you for that. Have a nice day. Have a great life. Okay, till then, see ya. Bye bye.